Hey, we're live. That's what we do when it's MCU Mondays time because it's Monday and it's the time, so it's MCU Mondays time. Welcome. Glad to be here as always. I'm your host Chris, joined as always by my delightful co-host Debbie.
Mostly delightful, not always delightful.
Didn't you just get a promotion or something at Geek News
Yes,
Now?
I did.
I saw a post. Debbie has got more responsibility.
No.
Twice the responsibility. 100 times the pay, though. Isn't that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, it's a big pay,
Mhm.
big pay jump there. Yeah.
I was promised Chris Evans would deliver my first check, so
Nice.
You've been lied to. We also got David with us as usual. David, how are you?
I'm good. It's Monday. Ready to talk some MCU.
Monday's MCU. Thursday is the time for Star Wars, and that's where David hosts the Star Wars show. You can always check out the Cantina Happy Hour on Geek News Now. That happens on Thursdays, this time, but on Thursday. Today, we talk about the MCU. We're joined by our special guest, John, or Ambrose, or I was gonna say, yeah, I was just like, that's what somebody.
Yeah, that guy down there on the
another member of the Geek News Now community who is joining us to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. But John, I know you do some writing for the website. What was the latest? What's your latest?
Latest Marvel piece I did, I reviewed She-Hulk about a couple weeks ago.
I read that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed your commentary on that.
And my latest article to date, it's part one of a two-parter about whatever is going on at Disney. I don't even know anymore. I need a scorecard.
There is a lot happening over there.
It's really hard to write because it's like playing whack-a-mole. It's like, all right, I have this down. Okay, I can type, and then it's like pop up. Oh, this person got fired. God, gotta go back and do this again. So it's when I'm done with it, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, it's been fast and furious what with trying to keep up with the geek news recently. I mean, they were like, Bob's out, Bob's in. Remember Bob? It's Bob Chapek, Bob Iger. Bob Iger left, Bob Chapek comes in. Bob Chapek leaves, Bob Iger comes back in. And it's like, there's a lot of speculation going on as to what that means, why that happened, and why it happened so abruptly.
Why can't they just run it together like the Bobs from Office Space?
Bob and Bob. Oh, that's I wish I had a clip for that.
I got a meeting with the Bobs. I actually just watched that.
Bobs. All right, but what we're here to talk about today, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but we're mainly going to be talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which just came out right after Thanksgiving, and I really enjoyed it. I think most of us did, but we'll get into that and more as we go on with the show. But before we do that, let's have our theme song.
You should just cue the music.
So when I was making the theme song for tonight, not the song, but I like to do clips for every episode, spice it up. I was getting to the end of it and I was like, I do like the Hulk thing that we normally have in there at the end. And when I say Hulk thing, it's actually from the Miss Marvel show when the dad busts in as the Hulk and it's like, here's Debbie. And it's like, yeah. And we really enjoyed that. But I was like, this is a good one. I like it because like when I was watching this, I was like, the team up of Drax and Mantis, because they're most of this special. When I was thinking about the team up between them, I was like, that's a lot. That reminds me so much of me and Debbie. Because Mantis is like this intelligent, soft-spoken, da-da-da, but then like she gets riled up by having to deal with Drax being a giant moron all the time. And I'm just like, that's me and her.
She was so aggressive in this one. I was just like,
she was way more aggressive, and I was like, well, that's got to be a fact of her just having to deal with Drax. Like, she wouldn't be talking like that towards other people. I really liked it. That's like a development of her character, and that in the second Guardians of the Galaxy, when Mantis is introduced, she's very submissive, and she's mostly just a punchline for Drax to use. Like, he calls her hideously ugly and no one could ever love you, and she's just very submissive and deals with it.
I'm just imagining myself being with you.
And so she's mostly a punchline for that. And in this one, now she's kind of like used to because before that, she was just with Ego. That was her only connection to anyone else, and she's like a tool for him. Now she's with these people, and she's learning how to interact with them, and she's learning how to deal with Drax. So she's super like, she yells at him, yells back at him, and I was like, that's hilarious. I thought that was great. And I definitely was like, when I saw them hanging out, I was like, this duo, that's me and Debbie. That's
I need to follow in her footsteps and become more aggressive.
You don't think you're aggressive?
Am I?
I just like, it was also reminding me of this.
I will be talking for myself. This is an open and shut case, and anybody who can't see that is a savage and an idiot.
Okay.
You can't just kill people, Drax. How am I supposed to know what to do if nobody tells me the rules? Oh my goodness!
What's your opinion on dancing?
What did he say?
He said
for pathetic people.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then the guy's like, how about a shot then? And he's like, ah! Which also was another part of this thing I liked. It was just like, hey, look, it's just getting wasted. That's oh, and then they do the rest of it drunk. Okay, excellent.
That first Christmas song that was sang by the band, I have to say, it started off like awesome. It started off like a Christmas song that just got progressively more awkward.
That was awesome. Okay, here's what I want to do, actually. Let's go back to even before that. Because when it starts, I was like, what? Because it starts animated.
Yeah, it starts off like a cartoon.
Well, it's kind of like because the Grinch stole Christmas, but it's Yondu stole Christmas.
Well,
and so it's Kraglin talking about how Yondu ruined like Peter's.
So was that animation? Did that animation look like rotoscope animation to you?
Somewhat.
I mean, I was looking at it, and this was mainly at the end sequence, the end flashback, if you will, when they were doing that, and I was like, that looks like rotoscope. That looks like the old Lord of the Rings movie. And Wizards was another one that did that.
Easier to do nowadays than it used to be, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Well, because it's all looking
at it. Yeah, whether it was rotoscope or if they actually had someone animate it, but I wasn't expecting that starting off because all the previews they never showed it, and it wasn't that much of it. It was just like a piece at the beginning, a piece at the end. But I thought it was great. I thought it was a great bookend to the whole thing.
It was a flashback, and it was good.
Yeah, well, it was fantastic. John, what did you think about the opening with Yondu and Kraglin?
It threw me off for a minute too with the animation. I thought it was good. I was like, are they going? Is he just making fun of the Star Wars special? Is this going to be a troll? And
so much better than the Star Wars special
because it's James Gunn, and you never really know. So yeah, I thought it was a good opening, solid opening. I laughed, then I kind of felt bad. Because the dude,
well, it's a holiday special too, so it's like, okay, so it's like, let's get some cheesiness in there, and it really didn't hit me. I think that's why I called them bookends, is because like it starts out with that, and then it kind of ends with that, and that kind of brings that nostalgia feel into it. Because Guardians of the Galaxy wouldn't necessarily have a huge nostalgia. Like mainly, its nostalgia was from the songs that they used, which even in this would still apply. But with the animation at the front and end, not as much as in the other Guardians movies, but it's Christmas music, so it hits you from that angle. But the animation, I think, at the beginning and end does remind you of like the animated holiday specials that used to come out, and like that's what people watch year after year after year after year. Like I remembered watching Frosty the Snowman bunches of times, and like Peanuts, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and all these different holiday specials, and so it definitely evoked that tone.
I think he picked good music. I've listened to the Pogues for years, and I never thought that I'd hear Fairy Tale of New York in a holiday special until I watched this particular show. So the music really did set the story really well. He did a really good job selecting the soundtrack,
as I think has been the case for the Guardians movies as a whole.
This is where I disagree. I didn't know any of these songs. Of course, I'm a hermit and I don't listen to the radio, but I didn't know any of these songs, so it was hard for me to get into it like I normally do with Guardians of the Galaxy, because normally they have a banging soundtrack.
Well, normally the songs were like specifically like 70s
late
hits.
Yeah.
So you're
late 60s, early 70s.
I'm just saying, and that these songs for this were like more holiday songs specifically, and also more obscure, not necessarily because Peter was barely in this. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not his soundtrack.
It's not his. So like a lot of these things, like I want an alien for Christmas, like you might not have known that. Like I didn't necessarily know or that, but as soon as I was and watching it, I was like, it's a perfect fit for like what's happening. So it might not have had the same nostalgia hits as the other ones, but I do think it was a good soundtrack for what was going on for each
I like the first song by the alien.
That song was amazing. We're about to move right into that because he's like, we've heard tell of Christmas from, we figured we'd just go back to the source, and like him interjecting.
Yeah. That's not true. That's not how the Lord goes.
That's not part of the mythos at all.
He doesn't have a turd in your stocking. Yeah, that's good.
Actually, because they said something about the flamethrower to the stocking, and all I could think of was Futurama.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of robot. I almost I didn't have enough time, but I was like, they're basically, when they're talking about Santa having a rocket launcher and all the elves rising up, I was like, he's just talking about several episodes of Futurama. Like the Futurama Christmas special had Robot Santa who would go out and destroy people, and
everyone was naughty, so everyone got coal.
I was immediately thinking the same thing, actually, David. So it's like, and it was just funny. It was funny. It was a good song.
I think it set the tone. It was it definitely set the tone for the rest of the show, because
that was like the opening credits too.
And actually, even if you go back even further, there was an Al Yankovic song called "The Night Santa Went Crazy," and it talks about Santa going nuts and blowing up the workshop and killing all the reindeer and eating them. And I mean, it's just, he picked up a flamethrower and he barbecued Blitzen and he took a big bite and said, "Tastes just like chicken." So
it's a loose rhyme, but
it worked.
About the comedy, I guess. Yeah. So then they go to Earth. Basically, I mean, it is pretty much they call it a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, and I guess all of the Guardians are there at the very beginning, kind of, and all of them are there at the very end. But for the most part, this is a Drax and Mantis Christmas adventure.
It was a buddy Christmas story.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed their matchup, their team up, just them being able to get out there and do what they do. Like when they first approach Earth and people are like freaking out, and she's like, "You turn on the cloaking, right?" And he's like, "Yes."
But you know why that works so well? Because they're both the most of all the Guardians. They are both of them are the most clueless. They have no idea as to what's going on. They're basically just following the crowd. And with this one, it's the blind leading the blind, basically. And so it makes it funny.
I mean, there's still Groot. There's still when you talk about cluelessness, I mean Nebula, and even though they're like, go get Kevin Bacon, and she pulls out a gun. It's like, okay, it's like that's kind of the thing, is that they're all misfit idiots, kind of.
We got two ships and a bunch of morons.
You take those morons and you go there. But when they get down to Earth and they start just walking around, they get on like the Walk of Fame. I love that. Was hilarious. And then they start taking pictures with him.
Who did they call
it's
Drax?
Steve. It's Steve. And they like run and Joe's like, why did he run away? And then the look
she had when she looked and when she seen Carol Danvers. Like,
okay, why? What did Drax have against Psykill, the GoBot?
Well, she said he goes
that's
to
who
like,
that was.
Attack. Well, it is a guy in a robot. Yeah, so
he's one of the GoBots.
Mantis says a robot killed his cousin. And he goes, I will kill you. And that was one of the funniest things, is like, I thought that joke was going to end there, but then they do the montage of people taking pictures. And then at the end, it's like someone's taking a video of Mantis, and he's just in the background, like beating the crap out of this guy who's just in a costume. And it's like, I was like, yeah. It was fun. That was one of those things. I was like, I did when I was watching this, I had like a lot of laugh out loud moments. And I haven't, probably more than in any recent MCU thing. Now, I know they're not supposed to be like hilarious comedies necessarily. Well, I mean, She-Hulk was supposed to be that, but
no laugh out loud here. Wait a minute. We're not supposed to be talking about She-Hulk.
I know, right?
No one's ever supposed to be talking about She-Hulk.
I just wanted to compare it to the latest comedy, and that ostensibly...
That wasn't a comedy. That was a travesty.
That's why I said ostensibly. That's what they've framed it. Look.
This reminds me of that Simpsons where he's like, do you know why I took you on all those Police Academy movies? Certainly not to laugh.
Certainly not to laugh. But yeah, like this one had me genuinely laughing. I enjoyed it. What happens next? They're walking down the streets. They get all the money. So they get all the money. And that was another thing I liked, is that like one thing led to another. Like they get a lot of money and then they're just like, and they are super clueless because they didn't like track where Kevin Bacon was. They didn't do any sort of search in Earth's whatever. They just landed in Hollywood and started walking around
out with a map to the stars.
Well, that was later. That was after they go into the bar and they just put all the money down on the table. Now, and I didn't get this reference. Was the guy behind the bar someone with like an enemy of Kevin Bacon's in some movie? It sounded like he has some sort of accent. I didn't, but I'm sure that's like an inside joke.
He's a character actor. I think he's been in something Marvel's done. I forgot, but he's a familiar face.
He goes, why would I know where Kevin Bacon is? And I'm like, oh, that's probably an inside joke that I don't get because I don't know Kevin Bacon as well as maybe I should. I don't know.
6 degrees.
I know in that respect, but it's not like, I know what movies he's been in for that game, but when was the last time you watched him?
I watched Friday the 13th a couple weeks ago. That's about it.
Exactly.
Tremors, Stir of Echoes.
Well, Tremors is great. But when was the last time you watched Tremors?
One of the X-Men movies. Which one was? He was First Class, right?
First Class.
Yeah.
He had the crazy woof, 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 woof thing going on. It was great. Then Magneto killed him by like slow pushing a thing through his skull. I wonder if I still have that clip. Oh. It's worth looking for me. Oh.
He found another one.
Well, I found it, but now I can't. It's not. Oh. Why isn't it working? All right, give me a second. It's just insane.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. He probably just closed himself out of it. There he is.
I don't know what just happened, but it was like we had an error and you can't do anything. And I was like, okay.
Let it go! You have to let it go! You can't.
All right, well, now I can show clips again. That was really weird. Okay, but here's the one that I found.
Innocent men. They're just following orders.
I've been at the mercy of men just following orders. Never again.
It wasn't the one where he's pushing the coin through his head.
No, but I enjoyed seeing that because I love those two.
Never again. Yeah, that's a good movie, but I don't know what's going on.
Oh, Footloose. We forgot Footloose.
Well, Footloose.
That's like the inspiration for everything. The dance off to save the world.
Yeah, Bacon versus Lithgow. There can be only one.
Okay. So they're at the bar. Just go from there.
Another montage, by the way.
Yeah. Alcohol.
It's fine. It's fine. These are good montages. I like these montages.
Speeds up. What is a montage anyway? It just quickly gets through some stuff that we wouldn't have time to. It's just them partying. They get drunk, they party, and then
it's something that Zack Snyder should have learned how to do like 20 years ago.
Rough.
Then his movies wouldn't be 4 hours.
I will say as to that one, that movie, his version of the Justice League had so much slow motion in it that if you were to just take out the slow motion, it would easily be 2.5 hours.
Oh, you know what? Peter Jackson does the same thing in every one of his movies. It's always a lot of slow motion.
Okay. Well, I haven't watched all of his movies, but
watch King Kong. King Kong is awful. It's like not awful as far as bad. It's a good movie, but it's just bad about. Oh my gosh, are we going to go into slow motion in every scene?
Well,
seriously,
that's very specifically the problem with Justice League. So, I mean, that one is every scene, every time something's happening, and then it's like the flash starts around, they go into slow motion. It's like that doesn't mean anything anymore. Every character.
He's just regular now. He's just Barry.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
He's a guy in a red suit.
Especially with that casting, it was bad enough.
That guy dressed like
that casting was terrible before Ezra Miller went insane. And then that happened.
Yeah.
Good Lord. WB, my gosh. With all the stuff that, there's nothing was going right for them. Now the tide is starting to change a little bit. But I do think, especially like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, this is a great thing for Marvel because the last couple things from them, in my opinion, have not been that impressive. Werewolf by Night was great. That was the first special presentation.
That was really good.
Yeah. I think both of these things have been great. And I think they should do more special presentation things like this. Like, what are these? Like, they're basically holiday specials. I mean, Werewolf by Night came out on Halloween. Yeah. This one's a holiday special.
Well, Phase 4 was a dud, and I really think Marvel's hitting a wall. And if you'll allow me, here's why.
Sure.
DC has better bones, and Marvel had a better setup at first, but it just got overwhelming. And why I say that is, I can watch an episode of Titans and not be like, oh, well, I missed the last Aquaman movie. I have no idea what's going on in this show. Marvel has made every single piece of content required reading, and it has just become overwhelming. And it's overwhelming the people working on them. It's overwhelming the people consuming them. And it's just not going to sustain itself. They need to reboot, and they need to retool how they're doing everything.
That's what I said. End of Phase 3. They should have ended Phase 3, ended the Infinity Saga, and said, okay, we're done, and walked away from it for like 10 years, and then rebooted everything.
Or
and,
just rebooted it there into a different...
You didn't even have to... I mean, you could have rebooted it into a different story. You didn't even have to reboot it into the Infinity Saga again. Now do your Kang thing. Now do
exactly. I'm saying
reboot it into that.
Like a different story, but like recast everybody.
I mean, you can loosely tie it and do a movie that ties in. Like the DC universe was loosely tied, and then you had the linchpin, which was Batman vs Superman, that led into Justice League, and that was much better because I could watch Aquaman and be like, I don't feel like watching Wonder Woman, and you'd still know what was going on by the time Justice League came to theaters. But with Marvel, it's like if you watch WandaVision without watching anything previous to it, you have no idea what's going on.
Now, wait a minute, because Batman versus Superman, you said that's the linchpin. That one, the only other movie
or
before
a build
that
up.
was
It was a build up.
I was going to say the only other movie before that was Man of Steel, and that was it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking chronologically. I'm sorry because all this is old
tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I mean, Batman vs Superman is the only thing that ties everything together solidly. Is what I meant to say.
Well, that's partially because like WB and DC Expanded Universe whatever started later than Marvel. They're playing catch up to Marvel. They're trying to do the same thing as Marvel, but they were late to the game, so they were rushing some of those things. So the part of the reason they don't have as many things connecting, part of it is that they started later. Now, like again, like you said, though, the other reason is I think DC's also better at doing separate stuff.
Yeah.
Like their animated universe, like was the movies that they made in animation. I'll say this on MCU Mondays as many times as I have to say it, which is every time we talk about DC. The animation from DC is chef's kiss. It's amazing consistently. I love from the Justice League cartoons to Justice League Unlimited to then the stuff that when they were doing movies, and the movies actually connect. Their expanded universe or whatever through movies in animation is as good as the MCU, if not better in some cases.
I think the structure is better. The execution, Marvel blows them away. Marvel executed better, and that's just how it went. And
I'm just talking about the animation.
Oh, the animation. All right, yeah. No, that does blow Marvel away.
Yeah, and it connects and it's amazing. And every time I've been for the past how many years? My goodness, when I've been watching them doing things, DC, all I could think to myself is, why aren't you just making your animated movies?
It's like you've got a moving storyboard right there
into
all you have
live action. All you have to do is take this and do it.
I've said that for years.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, that's but I don't understand it.
I think Marvel's going to have to have a coming to Jesus with each other though, because it's starting to hit a wall. Because people are starting to tune out. When it becomes work, it's not fun, and a lot of fans aren't having fun.
I think we might be seeing some sort of revival, at least rejuvenation, something with Ant-Man. There's definitely a lot of hype for it. There's definitely, She-Hulk even made a joke of like our animation is bad because they're working on the next thing, and they alluded to Wakanda in that. But then I watch Wakanda, and I'm like, this isn't like the best CGI I've ever seen in some cases, okay. And so I see the trailer for Quantumania and like the whole thing is CGI. And I was like, okay, they've just been throwing people at this because this is the linchpin for the continuation of all the other stuff was to like keep people subscribed to Disney Plus or like this, that, and the other thing. But Quantumania is the thing that's gonna like introduce the next Thanos. Like that's going to be the thing.
Well, in Quantumania, you're starting a new phase too. So to sit there and say, okay, well, thank God phase 4 is over with because really there wasn't a whole lot of anything that came out of phase 4. So now we can move into phase 5 and hopefully the future of phase 5 looks better with Quantumania.
Well, also what happened to Fantastic Four?
They should have dropped Fantastic Four in phase 4.
Remember
phase 4.
And everyone was like, oh my God, Fantastic Four. And then it's like,
there you go, making sense again.
All we've ever gotten is in Multiverse of Madness. And what happens to him? He gets turned into spaghetti and it's like a.
Now, see, I want everybody to go back and watch some of our older episodes, because when we watched that one, the D23, and we watched that, and it showed that 4 at the end of the thing, I said no. Everybody was like, "Oh, Fantastic Four," and I was like, "No, I just bet that means Phase 4," and it turns out I was right.
And
it just meant
shame
4.
on them for using, because you know why people thought Fantastic Four? It's because they used the Fantastic Four logo, which is just a 4 in a circle. Let's be honest, that is what it is, but it's a specific looking 4 in a specific looking circle, and it's from Marvel, and this is Marvel. So when you do that, yes, people are led to believe Mephisto. Ah, son of a bitch.
I mean,
When we don't know what we did.
I honestly think Marvel needs to take a break from the from the Avengers, take a break from the heroes, focus on the X-Men, do another thing with Thanos, but do it with Apocalypse, and just regroup.
We'll definitely get the X-Men involved. I mean, it's been too long without any X-Men, in my opinion. Even though some of the last X-Men stuff that Fox put out was just terrible. The Phoenix movie or whatever that was, which, why are you doing that again? You just did that. Don't do that again.
They were clearly just trying to retain the rights.
Grasping at straws. Well, no, because at that point they were already being bought out. And you can make an X-Men thing, any X-Men thing, and still be retaining the rights to X-Men. Yeah, you don't need to do that storyline again to retain the rights to X-Men. And then they were already being bought out, and that was just, it was all going down the crapper. But now it's been so long since they got bought out. It's like, what? Finally, Deadpool's going to be the first real, because they keep throwing mutant into all of these shows and things, and they're like, I'm a mutant. And it's like, yeah, but you're not Wolverine in the X-Men. You're not like you're X-Men. I'm a mutant. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Where are the X-Men? Are we allowed to call them that still? Are they the X people? Where are the X's? Nah.
Get out of here, Jubilee. No one wants you.
Is that a fanny pack? I used to have one of those in 1990. Never.
Retrieving something from my utility bag.
It's a goddamn fanny pack, and you know it, you sick son of a bitch. The difference is night and day.
Oh, it sucks he's not returning for Deadpool 3.
Cable's not?
Cable?
No, TJ Miller.
Oh,
TJ,
yeah.
Okay, I hope they do get Cable back, because that's great. TJ Miller, yeah,
he had issues with Ryan Reynolds, if I read that right.
He had some issues. I read that article, and
he's burned a lot of bridges, because he was pretty much Silicon Valley. He was great in too, and he just
I heard he got in an accident. He had some head trauma, and since then he hasn't quite been the same. But he also, like, because that was what struck me about the article I read with him talking about Ryan Reynolds, was that, like, he was pissed off because Ryan Reynolds, like, while they were doing test runs of scenes or whatever, made fun of his character for being, like, there but not as big as a presence as him. And it's like, that's meta, and that's all part of things. Like, but that's what Deadpool does, and that was part of the thing, the lines you were running. It's not like, it seemed completely weird to be, especially complaining about it to, like, the media. It seems like a self-sabotaging thing to do. I don't know why any of that happened, but
to me, it's kind of a self-own when you've had a history of burning bridges, and you're the only person that Ryan Reynolds has ever worked with that has a bad thing to say about Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it's kind of,
definitely to me seemed like something that was part of the scene. It's like, that's something Deadpool was saying to Worm, and not something that Ryan Reynolds was saying to TJ. You know what I mean? It's like, so why are you taking things that people's characters are saying seriously to yourself? And it was just weird. So anyway, that aside, X-Men, where are they? Why are they not already happening? Do you think Deadpool 3 is going to be our first, like, real dive into Disney X-Men?
No, not really. Well, and honestly, the reason I say no is because.
Can I give you a preview?
Yeah, go ahead.
You think the studio would throw us a bone? They can't just dust off one of the famous X-Men? How about that Potts with the giant pigeon wings? What do those do anyway, huh? Carry him 3 feet off the ground to snatch up the nearest muffin crumb? No.
No, and the reason I say no is because, and as we all know, we've seen the things. Hugh Jackman is returning as Wolverine. And Hugh Jackman has said in the past that he's done with Wolverine. Obviously, he did some reshoots for...
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Charles Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that too. But we said that he did some reshoots for Deadpool 2, at the end when they did the whole cleaning up the timeline thing.
Yes. Should I play that clip? No, go on.
But now they've got he's asked, hey Hugh, you want to come back and do Wolverine one more time? And he's like, yeah, sure. Now, if you're going to reboot the X-Men within the MCU and redo this, Wolverine is such an iconic character that you wouldn't be able to have Hugh Jackman do it. One, he's too old. And two, he's done it so much that it's not going to be it's almost like, oh, this isn't a reboot. This is just a continuation of all the other stuff that's coming.
But in the other Deadpool movies, like we've had they might not be like the famous X-Men, like he says in that clip, but you do get X-Men. Like we've had Colossus, we've had Cable, who's part of the Juggernaut. Yeah. And so in this next one, we'll get Wolverine and who knows who else. It will be the most X-Men we've had on screen since
Dark Phoenix. Well, Deadpool 2.
Which one of those came? Either way,
I don't know.
Yeah. So
it's been so long for both.
It's been a long time for X-Men because you were used to with the Fox ones, they were coming out, and a lot of those I enjoyed. Some of the later ones definitely got into the last Phoenix ones was crap. But a lot of people give the first Dark Phoenix one. They said that's terrible, and I watch it. I think it's okay. It's not.
I didn't like it.
It's not the best. It's not the best thing ever, but it's not like I'll never watch it again. Like I watch it, and I like to see Ian McKellen doing his stuff. I like to see.
I'm the Juggernaut.
Juggernaut, bitch. Yeah, it's
Vinny Jones
for that alone. Vinny Jones, yeah. And then a lot of the First Class, and then the ones after that when you had freaking running around.
What was the one where the guy lifted up a stadium?
That was one of the First Class ones.
Was that Days of Future Past?
That was Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
It's like there's a lot better. There's a more efficient way to kill everybody, dude. You're just not thinking.
Well, he wasn't trying to kill everyone. It wasn't his aim. If his aim was to kill everyone, he could kill everyone.
Well, he spent all his time lifting RFK Stadium out of the ground. I mean,
it was a good look. We have a special effects budget, and if we don't use it all, they're going to cut us down.
They're not going to give us enough for the next movie when we're going to do the Dark Phoenix saga again.
Yeah. That's in the first one. Come on.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
I am a fan of the X-Men.
A hush falls over the crowd as rookie sensation Wade W. Wilson out of Regina, Saskatchewan lines up the shot. His form looks good. Oh, that's why Regina rhymes with fun.
All right, what if they do this? They make a new Hulk movie, 2023. Disney gets the rights to Hulk back from Universal. They make a new Hulk movie. And
that's why they're calling him Smart Hulk. Sorry, go on.
They make a new Hulk movie and introduce Wolverine in the Hulk series like he was introduced in
the comic books.
In the comic books.
There's also a great animated feature of that, but
and then get rid of Eric Bana because he's the bane of my existence in the MCU.
In the MCU, I was about to say, what? You didn't like him in Troy? That fight.
Yeah, I watched that. last.
I was waiting for him to Hulk.
Well, how is someone so mild mannered playing Hulk? Well, I'm the Hulk, and you have to learn to control your emotions. No, you're the Hulk. Hulk out, Hulk.
Well, that's the thing. When he turns into the Hulk, he's the Hulk. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry, because when I'm unhinged, that's when I turn green.
But it's not. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. It's like, let me explain to you why I don't get angry. Why don't you have a seat? I made you a coffee.
What? Here's the hint. I'm always angry.
Here.
But now, in whatever year this is, the audience wants action and seats with beverage holders, but mainly action.
But mainly action.
He writes letters to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when the guy was on the roof. P.S. Do you know Mad Max?
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. At this point, I would have to ask that we actually finish talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Holy crap. Is that what we were doing?
We didn't finish, actually. We got to when they were outside the bar. They got the star maps. Then they get to...
Now, wait, there was one great scene with the star maps where she and Mantis, she's like, oh, we used all of our money. And she says, oh, well, here, just take it. And then Mantis says, you want to give us all your money, too.
She has Jedi powers. She just has to touch you, but then she has, like, Jedi. So that was the thing. A lot of people thought she could just put people to sleep. Yeah, well, careful.
She's a Mary Sue. Mary Sue.
Well, okay, if we're going to talk about that, then the next thing I'll say is the thing that drew me out of the movie for a second, because I was like, why? And so, you know, when they're at the gate, and I loved it at the time. It was hilarious when they're like ringing the doorbell and Kevin Bacon's like, no. And I was like, he didn't already call the police. That's bullcrap. And then later he calls the police, and I was like, okay, yeah, okay. At least he is actually, because like, who doesn't immediately call the cops when you, especially if you're a star? And
I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway,
okay,
I'm a career bartender, and I've had encounters like that with my friends, and I was just like, I feel your pain, Kevin Bacon. I feel your pain right now. Like, I just, oh, that's awful. I'm sorry that happened to you.
But yeah, the reason why we haven't called the cops is they're outside the gates. We don't need to worry about it. They're outside. They're not getting in anyway. So screw it. Let them ring the doorbell all night long.
Because no one could possibly get around my security system.
Nobody can
of a gate. Now, anyway, that aside, here's the thing that bugged me, okay? She's like, I wonder if he could throw me over the gate. Hilarious. He throws her over the gate. She fight. Hilarious. 5 minutes later, they're both jumping over on hedges following, and I'm like, hey, you dumb idiot. If you can jump like that, why? Okay, so
she was drunk.
The only one who
I know. It's nothing. And then they show her like also like creeping on things and climbing on things. And I'm like, she has all these abilities, but she's like, you have to throw me. Okay,
you have to throw me over the gate.
Put it down to you being drunk. We'll put it down to that. But that, if you had been sober, that would have been a crime of.
That's kind of like I lost my phone. Has anyone seen my phone?
Here, let me call it real quick, see if it'll ring.
Are you guys hearing this? It's echoing. I'm not. I was like, it was a funny thing, but you can't then have her doing the next. Okay, and then I was like, she's drunk. All right, they're drunk. Fine, whatever.
I like them stealing the decorations out of the yard too.
I guess that's what they're there for.
That's right.
You can't do that. Why do you need to keep your stripy man?
I heard you saved an entire town through dancing.
Does this look like a man to you? And then the police come, and he's like flipping over cars, and they're shooting at him. I thought that was great. They start shooting at him immediately, and he's just like,
yeah, that was like, the most inopportune time for my 3-year-old to walk in while superheroes are like punching cops and putting them to sleep. And she's like, shot. Oh. Yeah, she's like, oh, fun. I'm like, yes, it is fun. Always respect your local police.
Yeah. They're gonna shoot you and it won't tickle.
And this
you're not
bothers
gonna
me.
pee your pants unless you're dead and you can't control your bowels anymore.
And this bothers me not just in this movie, but like any movie ever, is you get there and the guy shows up or whoever, and the police start shooting at him, and I mean they're just emptying their guns, and he's standing there taking it, and it's like, if I'm a policeman, I'm gonna say, okay, this isn't working. I don't need to shoot it anymore because I'm wasting bullets at this point. This obviously
not
doesn't
the training that
Yeah,
I got.
I'd be that one guy that's like, is anyone else noticing this isn't?
This
It's
doesn't
not
work.
happening. Like it's not. Yo, I'm out. This guy can take
That's
bullets.
why none
I'm
of
done.
you are cops.
Oh, I guess.
You become a cop because they give you a gun and a car, and you get to go boom, 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 boom when you get to people.
Yeah, but if you're in the
Whoever
army,
the people are.
if you're in the army, Eugene from Monster Squad writes a letter to you in Cran, and you go to a small town to save the town from monsters because Eugene summoned you.
Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts. Why?
Oh, a sarcasm detector. Well, that's a really useful invention.
Sorry, anytime I can bring up Monster Squad, I have to. Very underappreciated movie.
Anyway, he flips the car. I laughed. I was enjoying it. I was like, what are you gonna do? If I could do that, I would.
I just liked how the cops were like, yes. Like they're upside down.
Man?
Are you guys okay?
My friend's being an idiot. Okay. And not only what they did to Kevin Bacon, and there's the meta joke in there that actors are pieces of crap. And meanwhile, of course, who's saying that?
And
actors.
You had the whole scene from Guardians 2 where he retches at the thought of being with her, and then she does the same thing. She's an actor.
Normally, I would be so mad at this.
I guess all actors aren't complete pieces of shit. I also liked, I don't know if you guys were watching when Kevin Bacon is playing in the band at like the end concert. Did you watch Nebula's dancing?
No, I didn't catch it.
She did kind of like a step move and then a head turn and then like a step move. She definitely had like a dance that she was doing, but it was also so rigid.
She was doing a robot, was she?
Yeah, like it was such a good. I say if you can go back, if you just look at that, because that was also a great ending song that they did. Also, the bringing in of Kevin Bacon was hilarious. What'd you think of Kevin Bacon in this?
Oh, he's great.
It was hilarious.
I thought it was. I thought he's such a good sport.
What a great
everything.
sport!
It was. They
especially when they like hit him on the neck or whatever, hit him on the head. It's like, all right, be yourself, but not an ass or like whatever. And he's like, you know what? Normally that would really, really, annoy me, but for whatever reason, I'm just loving it.
This would really piss me off.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon's such a loser piece of crap. You know what? Normally that would really, really piss me off, but
I like when he's in the ship with Kraglin and he's like, he told us of all your heroic feats, how you saved the town from dancing, and regaled us with all your tales.
And that's like what changed his mind. He gets a call from his wife. He's like, my friends need my help. I got to inspire the spirit.
I've got to.
And then Kevin Bacon as Kevin Bacon, not as a character that he's playing, because that was the thing. He's like, what? You were just playing a character? You're an actor? No, Kevin Bacon as Kevin Bacon saves Christmas. Yeah, it's
Chris.
great. It's great.
Chris Pratt's facial expressions throughout the whole show too are just gold.
Oh, of course.
Like just this is a.
That's how he got his start. Was on
this is human trafficking.
This is human trafficking. All right, go get Kevin Bacon. I will retrieve him. Don't kill him.
Best cameo appearance: Bucky's arm.
Yes.
What's the story behind that?
Don't you remember in not Endgame, in Infinity War, him and Rocket were sitting there, and
I remember that he wants it. I'm saying
somebody gave him Bucky's arm for Christmas.
Well,
does he not have it now? Where did Nebula get it?
James Gunn tweeted, because somebody asked it on Twitter, but James tweeted that Nebula just went and ripped it off because she was feeling Christmassy. She traveled all the way to Earth to get it.
And that's canon now because James Gunn said it on Twitter.
And the fact that his arm is vibranium, at least that one, and
his flesh isn't. I mean, if you pull hard enough.
He said it so many times it don't matter now.
Yeah. So he just probably got a better arm. That one's been put to rest. And Nebula was like, "Can I have that?" Why? For the holiday special. It's really important, How about the big twist that what's her face Mantis is
his Ego's daughter?
Yeah, well, it's not a twist for the audience at all. If you've watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, it might have been that Peter never knew that they were actually related, but didn't she say in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that she's also?
No,
I just watched it. She said that Ego found her as a larva and kept her. That's what she said.
Okay, well then he lied to her, and I basically.
It's been a while
always
since I watched
assumed
movies,
that they
so
were.
I watched it yesterday.
I was about to ask because I haven't watched it recently, but I was like, didn't she say to Drax at any point that but that's what she said is that.
Yeah, Ego found her as a larva, and
I just remembered that I thought she had said something just to Drax because that's even what she said in this is the secret that only you know, and he made up and he said something about some berries that she ate all of them. It's like you're the only one who cares about that. But the other thing was that they're related, and I was like, I thought that was the whole point of the second movie was that all the people that were on the planet of Ego were all people brought back because. But I guess that wasn't explicitly said. But yeah,
and so now that's canon.
There it is.
Ooh!
What's canon?
Who's they?
I wish the robot chicken scenes were canon.
So I love them.
I think I would have been a little more okay with it if they had come out and said, because he raised me, I'm like a stepdaughter to him kind of thing. And we're not really related, but we kind of are because we both had the same dad.
Yeah, because if she was his daughter,
why didn't he use
have
her?
The celestial power? And maybe they tried and she wasn't able to do what was necessary. So... He
just kept her around because of her powers to
He used her for what?
Because he killed all the other kids.
Exactly. Yeah, they're all bones.
I said that Russell, right?
What's that?
Russell, yeah.
God, he's never made a movie I don't like.
Well, have you seen all of his movies?
Can't think of one.
No, all the movies I've seen with him though, I've liked. Escape from New York is one of my favorites.
Escape from L.A.?
New York.
L.A.? I'm just trying to find one you didn't like. L.A.?
L.A. is... I appreciate L.A. for what it was. It was a parody of the first one, and a lot of people didn't understand that. So I really liked L.A. for what it was.
I thought it was good at the end when he lit that match. Welcome to the human race. Nice.
Cue Rob Zombie in his best theatrical presentation ever.
I don't know enough of Rob Zombie's theatrical appearances to know for sure.
Oh, I was talking about
and by the song. I know you're talking about just a song, but still.
Oh, I was talking about everything he's done.
Okay, I was gonna say
up to and including the Munsters.
Best.
That was awful. Anyway.
All right. Yeah. Kevin Bacon sings the holiday closing song. Everyone gives their gifts. Groot's were so
hilarious.
Freakishly meta. Also, I guess let's hear your opinion on how Groot looked. What do you think about that?
Well, he was swole.
Yeah, because he was a skinny little bee, and Infinity War Endgame.
And
I guess teenager before then he beefed up for this.
Now this
one.
is
I think he was even a skinny little twerp in Thor 2 or 4. Love and Thunder.
Is he in that?
I think so. All the Guardians were in it right at the first.
I don't remember what he looked like in that one.
I think
and
he was
Baby Groot, right?
Huh?
This is Baby Groot, right?
In the holiday special?
Yeah.
No, he's a big, jacked up Groot.
He looks like
Well, he's like not fully grown Groot, but he looks like he's a football padded almost like.
It looks like he's a guy in a suit, Groot.
That's not Groot. That's just a guy in a suit.
James said that was fully CGI, so. But I thought it was a guy in a suit too, because I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Well, he just instead of being like the gangly kind of Groot, now he's like a bulky Groot, which is still like the original Groot we saw was more like a taller. So I feel like he's still on his way to being that. Like he got tall and skinny, and now he's flat, and now he's still got to get.
He's got to grow into his muscles, kind of thing.
Exactly.
He's got a gross spruit coming up.
They give him a Game Boy at the end. That's sweet. I mean, he clearly can't use it with those giant thumbs. When they show him unwrapping, I was like, I bet it's gonna be a Game Boy. Then it's a Game Boy. Then I'm like, look at his hands. I get the reference to him playing a video game and the what, but it's like he's never gonna be able to. I love Game Boy too, but this is a terrible gift.
What if it shows him in the third movie developing like twig things so he can
or
just
like
look at it?
to like play it. In which case, fantastic. You made it work. That's great. But okay, the meta gift that he gives to Kraglin, which is him opening his gift and looking at it,
and
then
it's like infinity,
and the smaller version, and the smaller version. Like, this is great. Again, it's like one of those things that you have to just like let go. It's like, how did you make the? Okay, it's the Christmas magic. That's how.
I just have to say, I love Kraglin's opening line at the beginning of the thing where it just wraps up abruptly, and he just goes, "And that's how Yondu ruined Christmas forever." And everyone's just kind of looking at him.
but actually, Groot's presence. I mean. Very obviously they were homemade presents, and very obviously they depicted scenes of the story, and that was all well and good. But if you go back to the I Am Groot series, one of them is him. I think it's the last one. I think it's the latest one was him trying to draw the picture and blowing things up and making a picture for Rocket. He goes, "Is this my fur? Where did you get this?" So to see that carry over now, it's like, okay, he's making homemade gifts for everybody, and he's just using crappy times laying around. So
Rocket almost attacking Kevin Bacon because he called him a talking raccoon.
That was a great bit. Yeah. Awesome. He's like, "Don't worry, we're not going to hurt you." Holy crap, that's a talking raccoon. I'll kill you. Kill you. That was great. That was hilarious. It was very fun. It was a lot, like the whole thing was just fun, enjoyable.
Definitely worth putting on your holiday watch list.
Yeah, the scene, like the music again,
every year.
Comes into it. I really liked when, like, they actually are setting everything up, and Quill's just sitting there alone drinking, and then he comes outside and they start turning the lights on. I mean, those moments are really beautiful. Looking and feeling, yeah, it's. So this is Christmas.
Oh, and they bought Nowhere. Is that what? Did I hear that right?
Yeah,
they live in. They bought. Since we purchased Nowhere. Yeah.
You should just cue the music.
Okay, so that song I recognized, and that song is probably one of the most underplayed Christmas. I wish they would play it on whenever the radio station.
Definitely playing. I Want an Alien for Christmas. Like,
I want to say that's the Waitresses, but I'm not sure.
It is the Waitresses. Christmas Rapping. WRAPPING.
Yeah.
Christmas Rapping. So go check that one out. They play it like once every 3 weeks on the Christmas channels, but
so we can't get a reprieve from the Mariah Apocalypse and Whamageddon, but they'll save Christmas Rapping, which is actually a decent song, for like that one time where you're not listening to the radio.
Or Grandma got run over by the reindeer.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Walking home from our house.
Yeah. We don't need Christmas music on this shit.
Not yet. Thursday. You know what? Thursday's December 1st. We'll talk about Christmas music.
Have fun. Speaking of which, that's it for us tonight. You guys got anything else you want to say about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
Yeah, I'll probably watch it every year, so
I'll probably watch it 2 or 3 times a year.
I'll add it to my.
It's fun. It's not too long.
My list of Christmas shows that I have to watch every year at Christmas.
It's 45 minutes of escapism and fun, and
And you don't have to watch any of the other Marvel stuff to understand what's going on.
Not really.
No.
If you have watched Guardians of the Galaxy, then you'll
be up.
You'll pick up on some in jokes and you'll pick up on some things that are referenced if you have watched Guardians of the Galaxy, but you don't need. It's not required reading. It's just good fun. Yep. And you get to see a GoBot get beat half to death.
Everybody wanted that without knowing it. But when you see it happening, you're like,
yes.
That was great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely. Anyway, that's it for us tonight. What are we talking about next week? I guess, what's the next happening in Marvel? We got
not till February.
Not till February. Quantumania.
All right, so I don't know what we're doing next week. We'll find out, I guess. What are you doing on Thursday, David?
Thursday, we are doing Tales of the Jedi. All 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi. So if you haven't watched,
Tales of the Jedi is the new
great series.
6-part animated series. It's out on Disney Plus. Mostly dealing with Clone Wars, pre-Clone Wars.
3 episodes for Ahsoka and 3 episodes for Dooku. And Dooku is all, pre-Clone Wars. And the first one of Ahsoka is pre. I think the last 2, if I remember right. I'll watch them again.
Yeah, it's Ahsoka, and then they do Dooku in one clean sweep, and then they finish it off with the last 2 Ahsokas.
And I think those are both post-Clone Wars.
Yes.
Boom.
From what I gather.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but it's a good series.
At some point, David will have to join your show.
Absolutely.
Definitely when you want to talk about the EU, if that ever becomes a topic. When you have some break time in between some other Star Wars stuff.
I know you've been reading.
Tales of the Jedi is the last thing until we won't have anything
Acolyte.
to talk about until Bad Batch.
Well, Bad Batch and then Acolyte comes out.
Yeah, but that's January.
That's
Bad Batch is January, and Acolyte, I don't know when that's.
Acolyte and Mando. Oh, Mando season 3, I think, is February. I think
but that's all next year. So after we talk about Tales of the Jedi, we won't have anything until January to talk about anything.
Boom! We're gonna talk about some stuff.
They've talked about Boba Fett season 2 at great length, and then it never really turned into anything.
It
much
shouldn't
like
because
season.
That was a travesty. We've got this character. He's known as the best bounty hunter ever. We're going to make a show about him. What should we do? All right, let's make him not a bounty hunter. and then he's going to call himself a crime lord, and then he's not going to commit any crimes.
He's going to be like a governor.
Then people will love it because he's now nothing like the character that they love to begin with. So why wouldn't they let? Anyway, that's it for us then on MCU Mondays. We'll see you next time.
Shit! Language.
Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language?
Just slipped out.
Find the scepter.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
You bet your ass.
Steve, he said a bad language word.
Did you tell everyone about
The
that?
handle's imprinted.
Outwit the platinum bastard.
Steve doesn't like that kind of talk.
You know what, Romanov? Fury, you son of a bitch.